here's the thing. For everybody listening, don't make the same mistake the Bengals just did in any facet of your life.
People are going to get hurt. It's the hockey season. And if they want to make the deep run to the playoffs, they're going to need players. And Ben Hutton's a good defenseman that can help.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
I was very tempted to just put defense.
What about the Jared Cook play on the sideline? And then Mason Crosby's 55-yard field goal or something like that. That was a good one.
Come on, Austin and I have been saying this ever since Joe Burrow got injured.
I just do not see Harden putting in the same amount of effort into each game. And I honestly believe that's why he hasn't won a championship yet.
That's a perfect name. What you said, name brand players. Like, it's not the great value Target brand toilet paper or whatever. It's the Charmin Ultra Strong.
I swear we didn't script that.
Fultz is injured, and he really hasn't lived up to the potential of being the number one overall pick when he was selected by the Sixers.
Like you said, Ovechkin, he's getting older. He hasn't been playing as well as I imagined. He's one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, but he hasn't started off this season as hot as I would hope.
How is Joe Burrow going to get the ball to them if his butt is already on the ground and he finally decides who to throw to?
I don't really think the Dodgers are going to make the World Series this year. I feel like they'll make it to the NLCS.
And then I want to talk about the Fernando Tatis extension, because that really surprised me. Because he's so young. You see the Chiefs beefing up their O-line, and then you have the Buccaneers beefing up their defensive line.
Ingrained in the life of Tom Brady and what winning actually looks like, I think will be a very good move for Bruce Arians and this Bucs organization.
Hi, I'm Jeff Allen, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our 94th episode. But if you listen to our last episode, which big thing you should listen to, we announced that we are doing a new format where we're doing almost like a talk show, but we'll talk about one league each week. So today we're doing the week of August 22nd, and here are our thoughts on the week of August 22nd with our first video. This is the MLB, and we will post them in the following day, and you can listen to hear what we think about this week. So let's start with the MLB, Austin. And it's been a while since we've talked about the MLB, so let's talk about the Field of Dreams game. Not gonna lie, I don't think there's a better ending, right? Well, there's a better ending for you, but for like the casual fan.
Yeah, for the person who is not all that in tune with baseball and is just catching a glimpse of a game that it's Field of Dreams, let me check it out. I saw the movie a long time ago. Let me check out the game. It was a perfect game. For me, I would rather Tim Anderson not hit the home run, but if Chapman was healthy, maybe he doesn't. But Chapman struggled too. Maybe we would have went with Green, but I don't know if he was also dealing with ailments. But Britton was struggling, and Tim Anderson made him pay with a 2-run blast to help them win. It was a great game, though. Seeing the 4-run comeback in the ninth to get the lead by the Yankees was probably my favorite moment of the season, even though they ended up losing the game. But yeah, it was a great game all around. It could have turned out a little bit better for me, but for the casual fan in the game, it was awesome.
And let's talk about that 4-run eighth. No, it was the ninth. It was top of the ninth, right?
Top of the ninth, yep.
Yeah,
top of the ninth.
Because it was Hendricks, the guy. Because you have Kimbrel, but Kimbrel is the setup guy, and then you have Hendricks as the closer, and Hendricks has been giving up the long ball recently, and that's what the Yankees excel at. And so I'm curious, I'm thinking Hendricks should move into the setup role, because then he can possibly go for longer periods, and then you move Kimbrel into the closer role.
Yeah, I agree. And while Hendricks has proven this season he is a capable closer and definitely a good one, he's not Kimbrel. Kimbrel is a top 5 closer all time. I mean, if you just look at all his stats, all his records, his ERA is very close to Mariano Rivera. The only difference being that Mariano Rivera was consistent for his entire career and was the greatest closer in the game from his rookie season to his last. But Kimbrel definitely should be the closer for this team, especially as we get into the playoffs. I think it would be interesting if like one closed one game, the other closed the next game, and switching through during the regular season to find out for sure is it Hendricks or is it Kimbrel. But I would always lean Kimbrel because he's proven it throughout his entire tenure as an MLB player, especially when he was with Boston.
So we both acknowledge Field of Dreams game was great, and it brought in 5.2 million viewers. The average on Sunday Night Baseball is around 1.8. And so it was a good thing, Manfred. There you go. That's the second time I've said that. I'm surprised. I'm surprised because what was the first thing I said? Do you remember that? First thing?
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember what I commended Manfred on. But I thought that was the final thing I'd say, and I was like, I'm never going to say this again. Well, I did, and Manfred messed it up.
It may have been getting rid of the zombie runner. Maybe when I mention it next year, they're getting rid of that.
I think you're right. You're right. But and I think also like the changes. He was like zombie runner gone, doubleheader.
Doubleheader is going to be both 9 innings. Yeah.
But then he messed it up again because it should always be the White Sox. Because of the Field of Dreams, it's about the White Sox. Yankees made sense because I think there was a player from the Yankees.
That makes sense. But I mean, the entire movie. If you've seen the movie, and if you haven't, you definitely should go watch it. It's an amazing movie. But the movie is based on the White Sox. Like the story is about the White Sox. It's about the Black Sox. The year that the scandal happened, where they threw the World Series, but it's about that team. And there's no reason to not have it like the Detroit Lions and Cowboys in football, where they're always on Thanksgiving. It doesn't make much sense for the Reds and Cubs to play. It's sort of a rivalry, and at least they're older teams, but it doesn't fit Field of Dreams. That field is the White Sox field. That's why the White Sox were home. That was the point of them being home in Iowa. Why would one team be home in Iowa? Well, the movie's based on the White Sox. Let the White Sox be home. That makes total sense to me. But to not have it be the White Sox, I think, kind of ruins the mojo. And especially the Cubs are not even going to be a good team next year, as we expect. So I think it's a loss on all levels.
Yeah, and it's going to be a blowout. You're not going to have such an intense game between the Reds and Cubs. Like, even if the Cubs are good, Reds still have Winker. Castellanos is in a contract year this year, but they'll probably resign him. And then
Votto.
I know Votto.
Jonathan India.
That's what I was thinking. Jonathan India.
He's going to be the NL Rookie of the Year. But the Reds are really good.
And then with the Cubs, Magical, Contreras,
Patrick Wisdom is getting better. They have some players that are young and getting better, but they don't have a Votto on their team. They don't have a Castellanos. They don't have a Winker. Magical is a good contact hitter. He can hit over 300. He's a good player. I don't think the White Sox should have gotten rid of him. However, he isn't going to change the game from being 7-0. It may be 7-1. We'll see.
It's Manfred. Come on. And then you can even stretch it as the Giants because the doctor in the movie wore a Giants shirt. You see the Giants jersey, so maybe White Sox Giants, that counts because you can stretch it that far.
Well, I think you can stretch it far enough to be White Sox versus any of the old teams that were around back in 1919. In my opinion, that works because the Field of Dreams was the White Sox still playing, and any one of the teams, the Pirates, the Reds, any of those old teams that were around back in 1919, I'm fine with White Sox versus Cubs, even though I feel like it'd be a little bit cliched for them both to be from Chicago and the rivalry being rekindled in Iowa. But, I mean, the point of the movie was the White Sox, and not having them included, I think, is a major loss. And I think Manfred messed it up. You can call him Manfred if you want to.
Well, maybe you should take notes on it's okay to take a World Series away, what happened with the Black Sox. But let's move on. Speaking of the Giants, and then let's talk about the Dodgers and then the Yankees. I think the new nickname is the Mountain outfield or something. Have you heard that nickname?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like the outfield is tall, you could say, when it's
Like Joey
Stanton,
Gallo's
Judge, and
the
Gallo.
shortest,
Yeah,
right?
Gallo's 6'5", Stanton 6'6", and Judge is 6'7".
So I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to check on that.
Yeah, when most of the time they've been running Stanton now in right, putting Gallo in left and Judge in center, which I feel like is an interesting move. But I'm fine with it. I feel like Gallo in left actually works because he's such a great defender. I think Gallo should not be in center because he's never played it his entire career. But left and right I think is fine.
He's played center field like once, a couple of times. He played with the Astros like 3 years ago. But the main thing is the Rangers didn't want to hurt his joints because he's so tall and he's had injury problems in his career. Like I think that was their thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But but Judge has the same thing. So
Yeah,
but
Judge is taller.
yeah, but Judge, I think I've heard Judge is doing yoga more this season, and that's why he's playing more.
I wouldn't be
Because he's
surprised. He's
had
also
injury
hitting
problems.
pretty well. He's up 280 something, and he's also hitting homers. But yeah, when we play Stanton in right, Gallo in left, and Judge in center, oh, that's an NFL sized outfield to say the very least.
Yeah, and then Dodgers. They've put this pressure on themselves, given the Scherzer and Turner trade, because they're $100 million over the luxury tax, which is it's allowed in the rules. We've talked about it on Tampa Bay Lightning. It was in the rules for them to be over, even though you and I have disagreed on that. So I think you can make that comparison. But with the Giants, you and I didn't even. I would have had them at the bottom if the Rockies weren't in that division, right? That's why I said I was like, they're going to be at the bottom, but I got the Rockies, so they're second to the bottom.
I
But then,
believe I had him third. I believe I had Giants above the Diamondbacks as well. You can do some research, go back all the way to that. I believe I had them third, but neither of us had them making the playoffs, not even close. Um, but I thought they had a good future. Their farm system is insane, and there's no reason to believe that they wouldn't be good 4 or 5 years from now. But now that they're good now, we could be looking at a dynasty in the making. Um, these are the best two teams in baseball, in my opinion, Dodgers and Giants, and to see them in the same division, having to play in the NLDS, is an issue.
can you expand more on that?
Yeah, sure. So Brandon Crawford, I think, is a big MVP candidate. He's almost hitting 300 and is really a catalyst behind this Giants team. Buster Posey is also up there. I understand people saying like Tatis, but Tatis has been out for a while, and especially if the Padres miss the playoffs, I don't see how he can win MVP. Trey Turner's having an outstanding season, and he definitely should deserve some consideration. But the fact that he wasn't on the Dodgers the entire season, he isn't really as much a part of their success this season as some of the other guys, like Max Muncy, who's also having a great year. But it'll be interesting to see.
Okay, so I finally found it. If you scroll up to page 52 on our little doc, you had Diamondbacks above Giants in the NL West.
Oh, we both had the same thing.
Yeah, we had the same thing. We actually had the same exact NL West. And I also want to talk about the Padres because Tatis's injury. I think it would be a shame if the Padres missed the playoffs. Do you agree with that?
Not necessarily, because I feel like with the Reds, it would also be very interesting. I don't feel like the Reds are giving enough credibility. They have a great rotation. Wade Miley is a very underrated pitcher in this league, and if you don't know his stats, check him out. They are disgusting. Then you have the Padres, who really are the team that did the same thing that the Dodgers did without going over the luxury tax. Uh, they got Blake Snell. They got Yu Darvish. They got all these guys. They got Adam Frazier at the deadline. I mean, they're picking up guys. They picked up Daniel Hudson.
Picked up Jake Yeta.
Yeah, many of these guys who have a lot of success beforehand, who've won World Series, who's done it before, they picked up all these guys. So now they're not the underdogs anymore like they were last season. Um, that's the Reds, and I would love to see Joey Votto and crew make the playoffs, and I'm fine with either team. I don't think it'd be that big of a travesty, especially because of Tatis's injury. But now that he's back, and they're probably going to play him in the outfield because
Yeah,
their
we forgot to
defense.
mention Adam Frazier, that trade,
Oh
which
yeah,
was, I think, the biggest thing before the Dodgers trade.
yeah. I mean, at
And
least
then,
unless you're going to move Tatis to first, there's no reason not to move Tatis to the outfield because Drake Cronenworth and Adam Frazier are much better defenders, and I don't even have to mention Machado, who's one of the best third baseman defenders in the league. So, yeah, I don't see a reason to keep him in the infield unless you're going to move him to first, which would be a weird place to see Tatis, who is a pretty fast player. So I try to move him into left or right, see what happens.
that'd be very funny. I kind of want to see that happen in one game. I also want to see them in the playoffs and just how that dynamic works. But I also would love to see the Reds. What else you got?
The issue is they're only going to be in the playoffs for one game. They're not going to beat the Dodgers or the Giants in a wild card game, in my opinion. Uh, so, yeah, I think we can move on to the next topic if you want to bring it up.
Yeah, let me get all the way down here. All right, so now our next topic for the MLB is the Reds and Padres because you talked about the playoff format, correct? Or
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Then that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So the playoff format should be changed immediately. The fact that the Dodgers and Giants will most likely play in the NLDS is a travesty to baseball. They're probably the best two teams, and I understand they can't play in the World Series. Fully understand that, but they should be at least playing in the NLCS. The fact that the Reds and Padres are fighting for one playoff game, in my opinion, and that's sad to see. There's no chance, in my opinion, that they go to San Francisco and face Kevin Gausman in a win or lose game with as hot as Buster Posey, Brandon Crawford, and their Chris Bryant. Their team is stacked, and then or is going to face Scherzer or Walker Bueller or both in a wild card game. Maybe they do both and do a 5-4 type of thing, but I don't think the Padres have a pitcher. Even Darvish, even obviously Blake Snell, they don't have a pitcher. Even Clevenger, they don't have a pitcher like Gausman, Scherzer, or Walker Bueller. Let alone their offense isn't as good as the Dodgers, no doubt. And I wouldn't say as good as the Giants. The Giants are more of a pitching team anyway. They have some of the best relievers in the game, but they still are a better offense than both the Padres and the Reds. And so the playoff format needs to change. It needs to be the three division leaders, the best two other teams, and then reseeded. The bottom two teams play to face the number one seed in the league. But for the Dodgers and Giants to be playing in the quote unquote second round, basically the first round, I consider the wild card game. It's a game. It's a preliminary round. Who's making the playoffs is what I see the wild card game as. So for them to basically meet in the first round of the playoffs I have a big issue with it.
Would you also be okay, given how, like, the Padres may be facing the Giants or the Reds versus Giants in the wild card? What happens if you expand that to, like, 3 games? Would you be okay with that, or do you like the one game idea? Because I kind of want to expand it, given just how the wild card teams could be great for this season.
I understand that, but again, until you change if you would have changed the format to top 5 or the three division winners and the other two teams and then reseed it and put the 4 and 5, I'd be fine with that being 3 games. But I would not be fine with it if it was Giants versus Padres. I think the Giants deserve to be in the playoffs. And like I said, I really barely consider the wild card to be the playoffs. So I think until you make it to where it's reseeded after the playoffs are set, I don't see a reason to make it more than one game. But I'd be fine with it being 3 games if it did turn out that the bottom two teams that make the playoffs in the league, the 4 and 5 seed, played. And it wasn't the Giants or Dodgers who were the best two teams in the NL and maybe in baseball.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious on your thoughts. Now, we've sort of talked about the Reds and Padres. How about Joey Votto? Just going like, why are you hitting so many home runs? Because I've started thinking about hitting home runs, which is just incredible.
Yeah, and I think I also want to touch on the Yankees here. The Yankees are the second best team in the AL behind the Rays. So we have a league currently where the Dodgers and Giants are in the same division and are the best two teams in the NL, and the Rays and Yankees are the best two teams in the AL and are in the same division. That's a major issue. That the best two teams are in the same division and they're going to have to play in a wild card game? What do you mean by that? The Rays and Yankees, the best two teams in the AL, even though I do think both teams are worse than the Dodgers and Giants, are going to have to play in the NLDS. Even if the Yankees do end up passing the Rays are better than the Red Sox, the Rays are better than the Athletics, the Rays are better than the Mariners, any of those teams that get in one of those three. So I think it's a travesty to baseball that the best two teams in both leagues are going to have to play in the NLDS.
Look at the NL East. We thought that was going to be competitive, and
I mean, it is.
Well, it is, but like the N sort of to a, it's not as bad as like the NFC East is competitive. Do you get my drift or no?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but another big thing about it is that they always play against each other. So the Braves playing against the Phillies hurts the Phillies record and the Braves record. Like they're not going to sweep. Like when the Giants played the Diamondbacks the other week, they swept them. Like it wasn't close. So that's how they won 5 straight now. And that's why it really hurt for the Padres to get no hit by the Diamondbacks. Is that you got to beat the Diamondbacks. You have to. You have to beat the Rockies. You have to beat the Diamondbacks. The Rockies are one of the best teams in the MLB when playing at Coors Field. So if you're playing a home series against the Rockies, you have to beat them. The Rockies are one of the worst road teams in the MLB, along with the Orioles and Rangers. So to see them, I don't know if you could hear Kevin smile, but to see the Padres losing to a bad team is really why I don't think they should make the playoffs. And if they do, I'm fine with that. It's going to be a really interesting end of the season. I think the NL is much better than the AL. I do think the Rays and Yankees both have a chance. Besides them, the White Sox have a chance because of what they've done. But besides those three teams, I don't know if Houston's still built for the playoffs. We've seen them go through tough stretches as of late, and now the Mariners, Red Sox, and Athletics, I really don't think are prone for a run. But I'll give the three teams, White Sox, Yankees, Rays, all a chance to go on a run to the World Series. And in the NL, I cannot see anybody taking out the Giants or Dodgers besides each other. And the fact that they're going to have to beat the Brewers or the Braves in the NLCS, I think is tough because there's no reason for those teams to even make it there, in my opinion, especially without Acuna for the Braves. And nobody's as good as the Giants or Dodgers. Even when you win by one run, again, the Giants consistently win by one run. I don't think it's a fluke.
Yeah, it's very true. And you want to know why I smiled about the Rangers? Because of Taylor Hearn, my favorite player for the Rangers. Not only has he done an interview with us, but he got his third win against the Cleveland Indians 3 nights ago. And he is starting to get used to the big leagues, and that's very exciting. As he started out as a reliever, and now he's slowly been building up to that starter role as he is taking as ever since Kyle Gibson has left in that trade to the Phillies, he has taken that rotation spot, and there are some great signs from Taylor Hearn, and it's just great seeing that as a fan and also as someone that we got to interview. And you should definitely pay attention to that interview as it was great, and we appreciate him doing that for us. But I think that concludes our video. So let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the Field of Dreams game. As Austin and I we clearly agree in how Manfred messed up. Maybe y'all have a different opinion. Let us know in the comments. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.